Hey, I might sound kind of funny because I'm kind of sick, but hopefully I'll be better by the morning. But I thought I'd do this video quick. A movie review of Bottoms. I'm a fan of a classic raunchy comedy. And Bottoms, it kind of reminded me of like a modern day, like early 2000s, late 90s raunchy movie, like American Pie. But they were like, there were, and it was like, this movie had LGBTQ elements in it. And it was basically talking about like lesbians, like the stars of the movie, they were like lesbians, and it was funny. It was just so funny. I found this movie hilarious. It kind of reminded me of like the satire, like teen movie, because it was a teen movie about some kids in high school, and like they were such dorks and they were lesbians trying to get laid, but they were like girls acting like a teenage boy normally acts in a movie. But it was so funny because it was so messed up. And then so they could try and sleep with the girls they wanted to, because it was basically girls acting like boys trying to hook up, and they would act they would just act a fool. It was funny. It was like, in the movie, people were like bust out laughing because it was so funny, some of the crazy stuff that they were saying. And then because it surprised me about one of my favorite characters in the movie was Marshawn Lynch. I know him because I've seen him on the news. He's been on the local news. He played football, and I think he still plays football for the Raiders or something. But I thought he was really funny because first he was like, because in the movie he was saying stuff, and it was like, when you think about it, it's kind of right, but it's like you don't say it. He was basically politically incorrect, and he was like a high school teacher looking at dirty magazines in front of the class. And then, like, the lesbian girls, they were like, will you sponsor our club? He's like, yes. And it's like a feminist. And they were like, you can help us by not showing up. And then he decided to show up, and he would get emotional and stuff. And it was just like funny. He was really funny in it. And, like, Cindy Crawford's daughter's in it. Yeah, those were like the main two people that were like known in the movie. Marshawn Lynch and Cindy Crawford's daughter. But I thought it was so funny. So they started a fight club because it was like the football team at the other school was crazy, and they were going to attack them because they were beating up people. So these two lesbian girls, they decide to start basically a fight club for girls, for them to learn to fight and protect themselves against the people from the other school that attacked somebody. And they were just basically punching each other in the face and like beating each other and stuff. And it was just like hella funny. And then there was like this football guy. They were like, he's the best looking guy and everything. And then there was like this girl. She was supposed to be so pretty, because it was like basically kind of like in the early 2000s, because it kind of makes me think like Superbad a little bit too. Like the nerds, they were looking to do something, and it was like these two nerdy girls. And then, like, the hot girls were supposed to be, like, Cindy Crawford's daughter. But everybody thought she was dumb but hot, but she was a follower to this other girl. And it was, like, back in the early 2000s, you would have... Because I think a girl, she might have been biracial or whatever, but she was visibly part Asian or full Asian. And it was, like, back in the day, you wouldn't have necessarily seen her as a lead role, like more of a backup character, because it would have been a white girl who would have been the hot girl. And this movie does have a lot of inclusivity. People of all different races and everything was just inclusive. And it's funny. Yeah, I just thought this movie was hilarious. I was just like busting out laughing because it was so stupid and offensive. And then I was shocked by what they were saying, because it was two lesbian girls, but they weren't saying, oh, like politically correct. They were like being so politically incorrect because they were writing the words that you can't say, like on their locker, because they were like, this one, number one, number two. And then in the end, they were just like, basically like, these girls are fucked up. They lied. They said they were in juvie and all this stuff, and that they killed people because they were trying to like impress these girls and get laid. And Kaia Gerber or whatever, she was like, I'm straight. and then the other girl, she messed around with her, and then she got with her boyfriend, because then there was this third lesbian girl who helped with the fight club. And then they were like, her mother's such a slut, she caught her mother sleeping with the head of the football team and stuff. And then the guy who was the head of the football team, it was like he wasn't that cute, he wasn't that great, but they were like, he's the best ever at everything. And it was just a funny movie. If you're looking at bust out laugh, it's like that movie where it's like, it doesn't even matter if like that they're like gay, lesbian, whatever. The movie was just funny beyond that. It was like, basically, just imagine like stuff that guys did in like the early 2000s, 90s, or just teen movies in general. Like they were doing it and they were like politically incorrect. And I'm surprised that like the movie wasn't like, I haven't heard it personally about the movie being like talked about like in a bad way or anything, because technically a lot of the stuff they were saying in the movie would be considered hate speech today. But I love the movie. It was funny as fuck. Yeah, I would say go out and see it. I just couldn't stop laughing through the movie because it was so funny and stupid. Yeah, it was a good movie. I'd recommend it. If you like, watch and subscribe, and I'll review something else probably next week or so if I'm feeling better. See you then. Oh, and yeah, watch my videos.